Hi, welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about tires. We're going to have 4 main points, and then we're going to have one kind of overall summary. So stick to the end to hear that summary. So we're going back to the unfocused rants, but with the focus on vehicles and things around cars versus just totally random chaos. Kind of giving us a little bit of a focus to the unfocused rants. So as we talked earlier, today is going to be about tires and how important they really are. So our first topic is, are tires really important? To answer that question, the simple way is yes, of course. But to give a little more detail, essentially your tires are the thing that connects you to the road. Of course, they touch the road. That's where you get all your grip from your tires. So how thin and wide and inflation and all that kind of play a factor in how much grip you get, or the lack of grip. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen cars that don't have the greatest grip, especially if you live around here where you get snow and they're sliding all over the place and it's just mad chaos out there. Tires are very important, and many people don't actually think about it, but tires could be a very good upgrade to your car. Yes, they wear out pretty quickly compared to some other components can last the lifetime of your car, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube, you could go search them up, but that show how much of an improvement in your lap time that just changing out the tire to a better compound or more of a performance tire versus just an all-season tire. The next topic is, are newer tires better than a used tire? To answer that, in general, newer tires are better. But to kind of give an example of this, my old car, it was also a Subaru WRX, but it was a newer version. Anyways, long story short, I bought it with summer tires, and I had some Pirelli, I don't even remember exactly what type, but they're Pirelli summer tires, and they were pretty much bald. Like, you could see the wires on the tires, and the rims were bent. So I went and bought new rims and spent a pretty penny on the rims and cheaped out on the tires and just bought some off-brand all-season tires. When I put them on the car and first launched the car, I had all 4 tires spin on me, and I mean, I wouldn't call it a burnout, but they just didn't have the initial traction, and it kind of like spun a second before it caught, being that it's all-wheel drive. But with the Pirellis that were the summer tires that were bald, those tires actually gripped instantly. I had no issue with grip there, and I never spun all 4 tires. So that's a case where the newer tire wasn't better. So essentially, I would say it's kind of in the brand and the type of tire. So the next topic is the brands. Is a more expensive brand better than this off-brand, this cheap brand that's less expensive? The brand name itself makes so many different types of, like take Pirelli for example, they make so many different types of tires that you can take their high-end like summer tires, performance tires, and those are fantastic, but then you go look at their lower-end all-season tires that are really cost-effective, the economy tire, versus a off-brand performance tire. When you compare them side by side and put them on the same car and track time, same day and everything, that get track time, your performance tire with that off-brand might actually perform better than that name brand. So essentially what it comes down to is the compound of your tire and what you're using it for. So if you're using it for performance, then of course, typically your performance tire is gonna be better. Now, there's a lot of research that goes into it. If you go look into F1 tires, it's way above my head, so we're not gonna get into the details of it. But essentially, it comes down to the type of tire you have. Which brings us to our 4th and last point, which is the tire type. So you have a ton of tire types. So you have like all season, you have summer, you have snow, you have mud terrain, you have all terrain, truck tire, highway. So there's just so many different types of tires. It starts getting confusing. It all depends on what your goal is. If you are a track oriented and it's only a track car, then you're going to those top end track tires. Now, if you're, a daily driving or, multiple times a week you're taking this car out on the street, but you also like to take it on track, you're looking more at a performance tire. If you're just strictly driving it, no tracking, and it's snowing outside, clearly a snow tire is going to work better for that. Or if you're all about off-roading and a mud tire or all-terrain tire, It just depends on what your goal is to finding out what the right tire is. To summarize, the compound of your tire kind of tells you how your tire is going to perform. Now there's a whole bunch of science behind it all, but essentially a summer tire is going to work better in warmer weather, whereas a winter tire is going to work better in the winter time, because the compound of the winter tire is more malleable in that cold weather, whereas a summer tire in cold weather is going to be very hard and stiff, and it's not going to want to change shape and grip the road. And so they have an all-season tire that kind of does okay in all of the seasons, but isn't great at one thing, so it's kind of your all-around. Whereas most people that are modifying their cars are kind of looking towards the performance end. So to really know which one is going to work better for you and is it worth upgrading is looking at reviews, looking at videos, and you see that upgrading your tires to something that's a little grippier, a little more performance oriented, is going to improve your lap times pretty drastically, especially around turns. And the big thing I would recommend is before you actually buy something, don't just buy the name brand of that. Look at reviews, because sometimes that name brand can be that low end of that entry level of the performance tire, whereas your different brand that maybe you're not familiar with but people have been using for quite a while is actually quite a bit better than the entry level of the name brand. So it's not all in the name, it's more so in the compound of what's in the tire. Hopefully that helped you understand tires a little bit better and didn't confuse you more. I know there's a lot of information to tires, and if you have any questions or comments, just go ahead and comment below. Give us a thumbs up if you liked, a thumbs down if you didn't, but let me know why you didn't like it. As always, see you next time. Totally lost my train of thought. It just went. That's how unfocused it is. It's just gone.